Torschluss. This was from a book called Closer to Home, Brick Books, 1997. There's a footnote. Torschluss, literally the shutting of the gates, closing times. Torschlusspanik is the fear among older people that they won't achieve their goals or find a spouse. Now, for poets, this Torschlusspanik usually means that they produce a tremendous body of work just before leaving. None of that has happened for me. Torschluss. The air flickers and rises, everything in it. Breathe it in, breathe out, let it go. Stop brooding about how it works on others, hikers and bikers, this first day of summer. Forget them. Focus instead on crickets in the bush, in the rising broom clicking, or on the broom's thick blossoming, its dark pods that spiral open, catapulting black seeds outward, too quick for the eye, slow enough for earth and ear. And the woman ahead, shadowed by a younger man hot on her trail, who may or may not remind you of yourself. If you cannot say what you're after, take a moment to gather your thoughts. Consider each of the distinctions between the woman, her shadow, and you. Who cares if she rides her bike slowly, giving and taking her own sweet time? Don't even begin to pretend it's for you. Wipe the sweat from your eye, lick the salt from your lip. Let her back pedal brake, then push her bike at less than the young man's speed, ratchets clicking, tacking into and out of your line of vision. No help now from impossible Zeno. Is that what you're thinking? Let it go. She's easy to dismiss. Shake him off too. And don't imagine her elsewhere, dangling first one foot, then the other into lake or bath water. Turn your back on her and your own image of her meticulously pumiced foot sliding evenings into its shoe or glass slipper, clacking up the long wood of your staircase come morning, breaking into your sleep, kicking through sunlight that angles past your bedroom window. Don't believe these promises of heat and light, even if they make you feel decades younger. Watch out for the easy miracles, stiletto heels on which your fancy's too gladly impaled. Let the woman and the man make their own way. Go halfway home, then half of that, and another half, and half again. And if this way you reach your door, lock it behind you. Set the chain. When Eva, my wife, who died last November, almost a year exactly to the day that this book came out, when she was in high school in Germany, she wanted to become an artist. And her father, who was an academic with a PhD, refused to let her go to art school. So instead, she began to study sociology. That eventually led her to go to California and then up here, where I met her. She once tried to paint. She she discovered potato prints, and she tried some. I liked the idea, so I made some too, and she found mine better and stopped doing any art for a long time. Then in Portugal, we were there for months on my sabbatical. She one day got food poisoning, and because she was bedridden for about a week, I bought her a notebook and some colored felt pens, and she started to sketch. And that led to a long series that eventually got her painting on canvas with acrylic, with the encouragement of Herbert Siebner, who was a good friend for a long time, who is on the cover of many of my books. And Eva eventually was put on the cover of my books, and I criticized her too hard at first, and she learned to act on it. I learned to be gentler, and I managed to coax her into doing more. And hey, I did the important thing. I put frames on her paintings. A Kind of Spring Fever, from Second Person Sononis Press, 1983. Eva gave me the first line. A kind of spring fever. If I came back as a flower, would you pick me if I spoke, says Eva, my wife? Of course, I reply, so long as I can use it in the poem. What kind of flower? Be concrete, Linnaeus, you know, and imagery. Irish, she says, hopefully iris, I say. How would that sound, a verbal iris? If I returned as one, believe me, she says, I'd be eloquent. Your instincts have always been good, I say, hardly believing in eloquence in poetry, however, and unsure besides of the current status of the eternal return. Well, would you pick me then among all those others? Eva says you have finally, at long last, after all the years, etc., told me about? Be specific, I say, thinking about this poem. Laurie, she says, Hannah, Suzanne, you name them, so I do, testing their assonance naturally. I'd pick you as I've done already, and especially if you spoke. But what would you say that I'd pick you also, she says, over Jürgen and Peter, and stop, I say, not caring to burden the poem with inessential detail. Specificity has limits. Be fair, she says, not concerned in the least with my poetics. You named 3. Very well then, Jim, I say, Jim from California. Are you happy now? The poem is fair, it's perfectly balanced. From L.A., she adds, Wilshire Boulevard to be precise. Where did you meet Suzanne? Rue Dorchester, I answer, lying through my teeth. What did she say as you picked her out from all the others? Did she say, mon cher? What others, I say, with a sense of déjà entendu. Now come on, she says, there were plenty in Montreal. It was winter, I say, January 67 to be exact. In that season, the flowers speak no language that we could ever hope to understand. What I remember from Pointwise Fiddlehead Poetry Books, 1979. It's a simple 3-word count poem. What I remember. Of bread soup, I remember only the shape of the spoon and the darkness of the cellar. Of the women who held the ladles, I remember only the salt in their voices. Of my teachers, I remember best of all you, reminding me nightly of the words for night, breaking like dark bread over which you spread stars, saying welcome. My grandmother used to make us sukkabrot, which is bread buttered with a little bit of sugar sprinkled on it, which gave me this poem. Earthquake, from Heat Waves, Ulican Books, 1988. Most of the poems in Heat Waves were written in Portugal, but this one is set in Surrey, BC. The earthquake, however, links it because Lisbon experienced a horrendous earthquake in the 1700s. Earthquake. Last night, the earth took our house and gave it a good shaking. The European skylarks started up from the TV antenna. The vertical hole did not hold. The mice stopped rolling walnuts down the aluminum ducts in the basement. Doors rattled in their frames as though someone desperate wanted in or out, and we refused to open. The windows threatened to shatter. The rocking chair rocked before the fireplace, no fire in it, but only the soot drifting down. The pipes played a new tune behind the walls. As our bed shook, we clung to each other because, for the first time in our life, our lives seemed to depend on it. The bed shook, the chair at its foot shook, the lamp, tungsten buzzing, swung back and forth on its chain. We held on tight, laboring to breathe, neither of us able to come up with a word that could correctly name the situation in which we suddenly found ourselves. The bed shook, and we refused to be shaken off. Your slip trembled toward the edge of the chair and over, your dress after, my shirt, pants, socks. The light flickered and did not go out entirely as flakes of paint began to cover us. We gasped and did not let go. I'm not sure when, only that we fell asleep. Maybe you dreamed, as I did, of a couple on a long voyage, he by air, she by sea, nothing but cloud and water around them, no land to be seen. I dreamed that our bed was moving in the same direction as their vessel in the dream. When I woke up this morning, your eyes were closed, but following something quick beneath the lids. Only then did I know we had reached solid ground again. Cinch. This poem first appeared in Fetishistic, published by the Porcupine's Quill in 1984, the same press that published this collection, edited by John Barton. Fetishistic is a series of fairly lazy poems where I don't use complete sentences, and it's a little bit as though I'm hoping that my content has the same effect on the reader or the listener as if I said leather, latex, shoe. Cinch. Cinch that it is, to which you give up your breathing freely, notch by notch, freely. saying to the woman wheezing tighter, the soft body stocking perfectly adjusted, as in Vienna the doctors are saying Junge, Junge, slapping their knees, so eine Freude. Tighter, your belly, chest, head constrained, concentrated on themselves, not Vienna with its elitist cafes, from which the women gladly excuse themselves.